The bitter winds of Sapporo swept through the narrow streets like icy knives, cutting through the thick layers of snow that blanketed the city. The usual warmth of lantern-lit shops and bustling pedestrian walkways had been swallowed by the unforgiving storm. The snowstorm was relentless, turning the once vibrant neighborhood into a frozen landscape of white and gray. Buildings stood like silent sentinels, their windows frosted over, concealing the lives sheltered within. Yet, in this unforgiving cold, a fragile life clung desperately to existence. Buried beneath a thin layer of snow in a deserted alley, a tiny Shiba Inu puppy trembled violently. Its russet fur, now caked with ice and dirt, barely shielded its frail body from the piercing cold. Frost clung to its whiskers, and its small black nose was dry and cracked. The puppy's paws were raw and bleeding, each breath shallow and labored. Its whimpers, faint and broken, were quickly swallowed by the howling wind, a sound too soft for most to hear, yet carrying the weight of unimaginable suffering. Akira Tanaka, a man in his late 20s, shuffled down the empty street, bracing himself against the relentless wind. His scarf was pulled tightly around his neck, and his gloved hands gripped a thin plastic bag filled with groceries. Akira lived alone in a modest apartment, his life consumed by the monotonous rhythm of work and solitude. He had grown accustomed to the silence of his own company, the isolation becoming as familiar as the snow that coated his city every winter. Yet tonight, something was different. As Akira turned a corner near his apartment, a sound reached his ears, a faint, almost imperceptible cry. He paused mid-step, narrowing his eyes against the blowing snow. There it was again, a soft, pitiful whimper. His breath caught in his throat. Driven by instinct, Akira scanned the alleyways around him. His eyes finally landed on a small, barely visible shape curled beside a rusted metal bin. His heart clenched. Without thinking, he abandoned his groceries, rushing toward the fragile creature. Kneeling in the snow, Akira's hands trembled as he reached out. The puppy flinched weakly but lacked the strength to move away. Its body was frighteningly cold to the touch. "Kami-sama," Akira breathed, carefully scooping the puppy into his arms. The little body felt weightless, alarmingly fragile. The pup didn't resist, its energy completely drained. Akira pulled his scarf loose and wrapped it around the shivering puppy, cradling it close to his chest. He could feel its faint heartbeat, slow and uneven. Panic swelled in his chest. "Hang on," he whispered urgently. "Just hold on." Fighting against the storm, Akira made his way back to his apartment, each step heavier than the last. The cold bit at his skin, but he tightened his grip on the puppy, shielding it from the wind. He didn't know who had abandoned it, or how long it had been suffering, but none of that mattered now. Once inside, Akira moved quickly. He laid the puppy on a soft towel near the heater, its tiny body barely stirring. He rushed to the kitchen, warming a bowl of water, and gently brought it to the puppy's lips. The pup didn't respond. Fear clawed at him. Akira grabbed another towel, carefully drying the pup's fur, whispering soothing words. Minutes dragged on. Then, a faint flicker. The puppy's nose twitched. Relief flooded Akira. He prepared soft rice mixed with bits of boiled chicken, placing it near the pup. After moments of stillness, the puppy weakly leaned forward, taking a tentative lick. Akira exhaled shakily. It was enough. He sat beside the heater, watching the fragile creature slowly drift into a more peaceful sleep. Its breathing, though still weak, had steadied. Akira reached out, gently stroking its head. "You need a name," he murmured, gazing at the pup's delicate form. Its soft fur reminded him of autumn leaves, but also of the snow that nearly claimed it. "Yuki," he whispered. "It means snow, but it also means hope. You're safe now, I promise. Outside, the storm raged on. But within Akira's small apartment there was warmth, and for the first time in years, a flicker of connection. Morning light crept through the frost-laced windows, casting a pale glow across Akira's small apartment. The storm had finally quieted, leaving behind a serene blanket of snow covering the city. Yet, inside the modest space, an anxious energy lingered. Akira stirred awake on the floor near the heater, the events of the previous night rushing back as his eyes fell on the tiny bundle curled on the towel. Yuki. The little Shiba Inu lay still, its breathing faint but steady. The scarf Akira had wrapped around the pup remained snug, offering a fragile cocoon of warmth. Akira sat up slowly, careful not to startle the pup. He gently reached for a clean towel, moving closer to Yuki. "Let's get you more comfortable, little one." His voice was soft, barely more than a whisper. Lifting Yuki carefully, Akira replaced the damp towel with a fresh one and tucked the pup closer to the heater. He couldn't ignore how bony and fragile Yuki felt in his arms. The puppy's ears twitched slightly in response to the new warmth. Determined to do more, Akira stood and moved to his kitchen. He opened his modest fridge, scanning for anything suitable. He warmed up some rice porridge and shredded boiled chicken into tiny pieces. Returning to Yuki, he gently placed the bowl nearby, hoping the soft scent might entice the pup to eat. Minutes passed in silence. Then, slowly, Yuki's tiny nose twitched. The puppy lifted its head by a fraction, inching toward the bowl. With weak, hesitant licks, Yuki tasted the food. Akira's chest tightened with relief. "That's it, little by little," he murmured. Yet, as the morning stretched on, Akira knew Yuki's condition required more than warm towels and homemade food. His limited resources wouldn't be enough. He had to seek help. Bundling Yuki carefully in a thicker blanket, Akira placed the pup inside his coat close to his chest. The snow outside had calmed, but the air was still biting cold. Akira braved the chill, carefully making his way to the nearest veterinary clinic. The streets were eerily quiet, the heavy snowfall muffling every sound. Passing by closed shops and frosted windows, Akira tightened his grip on Yuki, whispering reassurances. "Hang on, Yuki, we're almost there." The small bell above the clinic door jingled as Akira entered, a rush of warm air enveloping him. A woman in a white coat looked up from the counter. "Oh my, please come in quickly." Akira carefully unwrapped the blanket, revealing the tiny, trembling puppy. The veterinarian, Dr. Sato, knelt down. "How long has it been like this?" Akira shook his head. "I found him in the snow last night. He hasn't moved much." Dr. Sato's expression softened. "You did the right thing bringing him here. Let me take a look." Yuki was whisked away gently, and Akira stood anxiously in the waiting room. Time seemed to slow. His fingers drummed nervously against his leg as he stared at the cold floor. After what felt like hours, Dr. Sato returned, her expression carefully neutral. "He's severely malnourished and hypothermic, but he's a fighter. We've started warming treatments and fluids. He'll need time, but he has a chance." Akira exhaled shakily, the tension easing from his shoulders. "Thank you." Dr. Sato smiled faintly. "Not many would go out in a storm like that for a stray. It says something about you." Akira looked away, feeling the weight of her words. I couldn't just leave him. Later that day, Akira was allowed to visit Yuki. The tiny pup rested under soft blankets, an IV carefully taped to his paw. Akira sat beside him, watching the slow, steady rise and fall of Yuki's fragile chest. "You're stronger than you look," Akira whispered. "Just hold on. Outside the clinic, the snow began to fall softly again, but inside, a quiet warmth filled the space, the kind born from hope and quiet determination. Days turned into weeks as Yuki slowly regained his strength. Akira's visits to the veterinary clinic became part of his daily routine. He would bring soft blankets, small toys, and even books to read aloud, filling the quiet room with the comforting sound of his voice. Yuki, once a fragile and silent figure, now lifted his head when Akira entered, his tail giving the faintest wag. Each small improvement felt monumental. The slight perk of an ear, the soft bark that broke the silence. Yet, despite Yuki's progress, Akira couldn't shake a lingering unease. The image of the puppy, curled in the snow, haunted him. Who could abandon such a defenseless creature, and why? One evening, as snow quietly drifted outside, Dr. Sato approached Akira with a concerned expression. She held a thin file in her hands. "Akira-san, we may have a complication," she began carefully. Akira straightened. "Is Yuki okay?" Dr. Sato nodded. "Yes, physically, but someone called the clinic today asking about a lost Shiba Inu. They described Yuki perfectly." Akira's stomach dropped. "Who was it?" Dr. Sato handed him a note. The name written in neat ink was Kenji Nakamura, followed by a disconnected phone number. Akira frowned. "Disconnected?" "Yes. I tried to call back, but the line was dead," Dr. Sato explained. Suspicion gnawed at Akira. Someone who cared wouldn't abandon a dog in the snow. Dr. Sato sighed. "I agree, but if this man returns, we need to be prepared. Yuki deserves better than to be sent back to a careless owner." Akira nodded firmly. He's not going anywhere. The next morning, Akira noticed a shadow lurking near the clinic. A man in a dark coat lingered across the street, his face partially hidden. Akira's instincts sharpened. Later that day, the man entered the clinic. His eyes quickly scanned the room until they landed on Yuki. "That's my dog," he said flatly. Akira stepped forward, shielding Yuki. "Who are you?" "Kenji Nakamura," he replied, pulling out an old photo of a Shiba Inu. The resemblance was undeniable, but Akira didn't move. "Why is your number disconnected?" Kenji smirked. "Must be a mistake." His tone was dismissive, his posture tense. Yuki whimpered, shrinking behind Akira. Akira's eyes narrowed. "Yuki doesn't seem to recognize you, or maybe he does." Kenji's smirk faded. "Listen, just hand over the dog." Dr. Sato intervened. "Do you have any identification? Vet records?" Kenji scowled. "I don't need to prove anything." "Actually, you do," Akira snapped. "You abandoned him. I won't let you hurt him again." Kenji glared, but turned and stormed out, muttering under his breath. Dr. Sato exhaled slowly. "We need to be cautious. He might come back." Akira knelt beside Yuki, stroking his fur. "No one's taking you away. Not now, not ever." But deep down, Akira knew this wasn't over. Kenji wouldn't give up so easily. The snow began to fall again, blanketing the streets of Sapporo in a heavy silence. Yet, inside Akira's small apartment, the air was thick with tension. Kenji Nakamura's sudden appearance at the clinic lingered in Akira's mind. Every passing shadow outside his window seemed more menacing, every distant sound sharper. Akira glanced at Yuki, who now lay curled on a thick blanket beside the heater. Though stronger now, Yuki remained skittish, especially when loud noises echoed through the building. Akira gently stroked the pup's fur, his mind racing. "He's not going to stop, is he?" Akira murmured to himself. Later that night, Akira installed new locks on his doors and checked every window twice. Still, unease gnawed at him. The next morning, he took Yuki for a brief walk. The cold air bit at his face, but Yuki seemed more alert, sniffing curiously at the snow. Yet Akira couldn't relax. He scanned the streets, searching for anything or anyone out of place. A black car idled at the corner, its windows dark. The same car had been there the day before. Akira's grip on Yuki's leash tightened. He quickly turned back toward his apartment, feeling the weight of unseen eyes. Days passed, and Kenji remained absent, but Akira couldn't shake the feeling that it was only the calm before the storm. Then it happened. Akira returned home one evening to find his apartment door slightly ajar. His heart pounded. Slowly, he pushed the door open. Nothing appeared out of place, but his instincts screamed otherwise. Yuki growled low, his fur bristling. Akira carefully checked every room. Then, in the center of his kitchen table, he saw it. A single slip of paper. "He belongs to me. This isn't over." Akira's fists clenched. Kenji had been inside. Without hesitation, Akira called the police, but their response was disheartening. There was no forced entry, no evidence. It was his word against Kenji's. Frustration boiled in Akira's chest. Dr. Sato offered support. "Stay vigilant, and I'll look into Kenji's background. There must be something we can use." Akira knew Yuki's safety depended on more than locks. He began altering his routine, changing walking routes, installing security cameras, and even reaching out to a local animal rescue group for advice. One evening, as Akira returned from the store, he spotted Kenji watching from across the street. Their eyes met. Kenji smirked before vanishing into the crowd. Fear surged, but Akira's resolve hardened. Kenji might be watching, but Akira wasn't alone. He had Yuki, and he wasn't about to back down. Days later, Dr. Sato called with news. "Akira-san, I found something. Kenji has a record. Animal neglect, even cruelty charges from years ago. They were dismissed, but the pattern is there." Akira's grip on the phone tightened. "That's it. We can expose him." Dr. Sato agreed. "Let's bring this to the authorities. They can't ignore this." Akira knew it wouldn't be easy, but now he had proof, and with it, a fighting chance to protect Yuki. He looked down at the little Shiba Inu nestled against him. "Hang in there, Yuki. We're going to end this." The first rays of dawn painted Sapporo in hues of gold and pale blue, casting a fragile calm over the city. But inside Akira's apartment, the tension was palpable. The revelation of Kenji's dark past had shifted everything. Akira knew he couldn't wait for Kenji to make another move. He had to act now. Akira gathered every piece of evidence Dr. Sato had uncovered. With trembling hands, he compiled Kenji's prior charges and the threatening note left in his apartment. Then, he made his way to the local police station. Yuki bundled securely in his arms. Detective Hayashi, a stern but fair officer, listened attentively as Akira recounted everything. The man's sharp eyes softened slightly when Akira placed the evidence on the table. "You've done well to come forward," Detective Hayashi said, sifting through the documents. "This man won't stop until he gets what he wants. But now, we have enough to act." Akira exhaled, relief mingling with lingering worry. Within hours, a formal investigation was launched. Officers visited Kenji's residence, uncovering more than just negligence. They found signs of animal mistreatment and evidence linking him to underground dogfighting rings. Kenji was arrested on charges far more severe than Akira could have imagined. The news spread quickly. The story of a brave man protecting a helpless dog captured the hearts of many. Media outlets began covering the case, turning public opinion heavily against Kenji. Animal rights groups rallied, calling for justice not just for Yuki, but for all the animals Kenji had harmed. 1 week later, Akira received a formal letter. Full custody of Yuki was granted to him. No one could take Yuki away now. Akira sat on the porch of his apartment. Yuki nestled beside him. The winter snow had begun to melt, revealing patches of earth underneath, a quiet promise of spring. Yuki's once weak frame had filled out, his fur thick and healthy. His eyes, once dull with fear, now shimmered with trust and joy. Akira stroked Yuki's fur softly. "It's over, Yuki. You're home. For good." Yuki barked softly, his tail wagging as he leaned into Akira's side. The bond they had forged, born from survival and trust, was unbreakable. That weekend, Akira and Yuki visited a local park. Children played in the snow, and families strolled along the cleared paths. For the first time, Yuki approached others with cautious curiosity, accepting soft pats and wagging his tail. Dr. Sato met them at the park, smiling as she watched Yuki play. "He's come so far," she remarked. Akira nodded. "We both have." As the sun set, casting a warm glow over the city, Akira looked at Yuki, feeling a peace he hadn't known in years. Their battle was over, but their journey was just beginning. If Yuki's story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. Together, we can make a difference for animals in need. And so, Yuki and Akira moved forward, not as survivor and rescuer, but as family.